Hi everybody, it's Ray Hiltz of New Raycom. I'd like to take a few seconds to introduce this Google Plus Hangout on Air interview that I did earlier today with Lewis London. Lewis London is of Kai Design and with his partner Andrew host a regular networking event called MEEX. And it's a very cool event. It's fairly small, which is great because you get to actually talk with people. But as well as talking with people, you get to hear these great presentations. Now, having said that, I've done a couple for MEEX, one on social media in general and the other on Google+. And so Lewis asked me to talk about that a little bit today, and I was really, really happy to do that. So without further ado, here's the interview, which is in progress. See you soon.
Writing and Google Plus resource. He has talked twice at MEEX, our networking event that we do at Kai Design. We do it every month, and these events are networking events that have a presentation by a guest speaker. So since Ray helped us twice, I'm gonna let him talk about his experience on MEEX and have a couple of questions for him. His presentations were about the first one was on social media in general. There was a lot of questions. It was kind of new for a lot of people and a couple of consultants. And the second one was concentrated on Google Plus, which is his expertise, or one of his expertise. So, how are you, Ray?
I'm very good, thanks, and real pleasure to be here because MEEX and Kai Design are one of my favorite things and places to be.
Great, thank you. So we would like to see if you can give us an overview of your presentation in just a few words, so the people that were here can have a recap, and also the people that weren't here can know what was it about.
Yeah, I mean, MEEX is a super networking. For anybody out there that doesn't know what MEEX is, I mean, it's a super networking event that's social media oriented, but it talks about small business in general, entrepreneurship, and all those. It's a nice size. You get to meet everybody. I've been going for now over a year. And it's interesting, my first talk, as you said, at MEEX was about social media in general. And I think it was about the myths of social media, that it was free, fast, and easy, which sounds sort of like some dates I've been on. So we dispelled that, and my hope was that I got across the thought or the concept that actually social media is very serious and to be taken very seriously. It wasn't about the media, it's about the strategy. So that was my first talk, and it's interesting from that first MEEX meeting that I see a lot of the same faces come to other MEEX, and I did when I did the Google Plus talk in, I think it was the end of October, 1st of November last year, and that was very interesting because at that time Google Plus just releases the Google Plus pages, and everybody was in a bit of a buzz about, well, how do I get people to follow me on Google Plus pages? Because everybody was very much in that Facebook mindset. And so we talked about that for a little while, that you couldn't do contests and all that, and so we addressed some of those issues, and there's been some changes to that. But yeah, so that was the big talk, and that was the big buzz, was the Google Plus pages back in the fall.
So yeah, well, you talk about Google Plus, give the overview, give tips and tools, and from then until today, things have changed. So I would like to know if you can tell us what has changed and what are your favorites.
Yeah, some stuff has changed for sure. First of all, the layout's changed. It's gone very visual. I mean, Google Plus has always been about visuals anyway. It's a very uncluttered user interface. There's no ads and all that, so it's always been tend to be visual. But now they made the cover art very large. Facebook sort of followed up and did the same thing with their site. But in terms of Google Plus, I mean, the strong points are still there. The circles management, the way that you can segment and manage your contacts, sort of like a CRM. Hangouts for sure is probably the #1 attraction to Google Plus for even those Google Plus skeptics, because it is so easy. And a lot of companies are using it now to do crowdsourcing. Focus marketing, meetings inside the company. The other thing would be besides we have the circles and the hangouts, it's just the content itself, the fact that it's very content driven, and that content is loved by Google in terms of search engine results. So those three things are always there. The big introduction in the spring was what we're doing now, which is the broadcasting. It's the Hangouts on Air, which is exactly what I said. It's sort of like having your own TV studio. You can actually do webinars, and you can do them on air, invite people to see it live. But once you do one, it automatically uploads into your YouTube channel or on your Google Plus profile page. So if they missed it, they can see it later, or you can embed it on your blog. So this is a huge thing. It's because again, it's all part of Google Plus. So you don't have to go to an exterior application to get that. So I see and I see it all the time, that a lot of people are using that, and they're using it in conjunction with something else that new, and that was the Google Plus events, which happened recently as well. So now people are using Google Plus events to invite people over to the Google Plus Hangouts on Air.
Yeah, I really liked it and I joined it. I guess that a lot of people should go a little bit more into the Hangouts. There is a lot there, and you could do Hangouts with a large group of people, business meetings, like you said, promotions. There's a lot of potential there. So we would like to know also about social media strategies. You are a social business consultant, so I would like to know if you can help and have a couple of tips on strategies on social media.
Well, generally, I mean, I think as far as tips go, it always boils down to something that seems very simple, but very hard for a lot of people to sort of get a handle on, and that is, there really isn't a separate social media strategy. Social media strategy is really part of your overall business strategy. So whenever you go out and look at tools or social media platforms, it always has to be in the context of what needs you're trying to fulfill, what goals you're trying to reach. And so if you're very clear on where you want to go, or why you want to use social media, why you want to communicate and talk and engage with people, then it's easier to figure out which tools to use for that, because the amount of tools are very, very overwhelming. And so you have to be clear on what you want to use. And again, these are tools. They're people, I think, really get intimidated by them because they can be overwhelming. There's an overwhelming choice. But also when you get into the tool itself, is extremely overwhelming. And Google Plus can be very complicated. I've heard people say that. But it's not any different than Twitter or Facebook. I mean, it depends what you want to use it for, and how how deep you go into it. Google Plus, if you just want to exchange like a blog kind of thing, exchange posts or share pictures, that's fairly easy. But if you want to start using the things it has in terms of CRM, like your circle management, and if you want to do broadcast, and if you want to do the meetings and staff meetings and crowdsourcing, and yeah, it can get complicated, but so can Facebook. And I find Facebook even more complicated when you're trying to manage pages. The tip basically is just don't look at the social media first. Look at your business first. Find out what your goals are, what you want to accomplish, what resources you have, because it takes resources. It's not free. It's not easy. It takes a long time to learn it. Find someone who knows what it's all about, who has taken that time to learn those things, and get some help in doing an assessment of where you're at, so that you can know what you're capable of doing. So I guess I'd leave you with that tip.
Great. Yeah, thank you. I guess that's something that a lot of people should consider. Like you said, it's not easy, it's not free. You should get the resources, you should get the strategy, you should implement it in your whole business strategy. Absolutely, for sure. Some people may wonder how can they connect to you. So I guess that they can reach you on Google Plus at Ray Hiltz, and they can go to your blog, who has a lot of great articles. It's newraycom.com. And I'm missing. Well, you are all over the web, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because more and more when I listen to podcasts, which I do a lot, and people say, "Well, how can people reach you?" And basically, the line now as well, Google me. So if you Google Ray Hiltz, you'll find me. That's the simplest way.
Perfect. Well, thank you for this mini interview and helping us with MEEX. Hope to see you soon again. And well, for everyone who is interested in MEEX, I'm going to put a little description on this blog post about it, and also links for Ray Hills. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop by and then put your comments in.
Great. Well, thank you, Luis. That was fun.
Well, thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.